Mornings are lit indeed. Good morning, criminals. We are powered by Flow, and as promised, we have our good friends from the Criminals Coast Guard in studio because we looking for some new mermen. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
And women.
Wrong with that. Good morning, gentlemen. Introduce yourselves and what we're going to speak about today.
Good morning, John. JJ, listening audience, Robert Scotland, commander of the Cayman Coast Guard here.
Okay.
Good morning, Renegade and Bubbles, Lieutenant Commander Leo Anglin here from the Coast Guard. Also, good morning to our listening audience.
All right.
Good morning.
Morning, guys. Now, I want to just start this off, and I didn't know we had a Cayman Coast Guard, so you can explain what you guys do before we start looking for these strapping young men or women.
All right, so the Cayman Coast Guard will basically be taking over the maritime safety and security of the Cayman Islands from what's now being done by the Royal Cayman Police Joint Marine Unit. As you know, the police are responsible for law enforcement on the waters as well as search and rescue. What the Coast Guard will be doing is actually bringing a more focused effort towards this, stressing a lot on the maritime safety aspect. Yes, we'll continue to be doing the enforcement, but what we're really focusing on is ensuring that we're able to save lives of persons at sea, and also ensuring that we can develop some maritime safety regulations as well as vessel safety standards.
Yes, that's important.
I think this was much needed, and congrats for it finally coming to the forefront. All right, so the recruitment, is it going on now, or is it something that hasn't started yet? What do we have to do to even apply for this?
Okay, well, the recruitment started about 2 weeks ago. We're looking for young Caymanians between 18 and 35, both men and women. Who are keen, eager, who love the water, different aspects of water sports, who have experience in that, or you don't necessarily have to have experience. We'll provide you with the experience. What we're looking for is keenness, drive, and willingness to work.
So it's a job that you will receive training on, correct?
That is correct.
All right.
So if you can't swim, don't apply.
Pretty much.
Now, will you guys be like the U.S. Coast Guard? You're gonna have new boats on jet skis and all this stuff, or because I don't know. I just trying to get the image of what he
wants to know what it'll look like on the water.
Okay, so we will take over the assets that are currently used by the Royal Cayman Police Joint Marine Unit. They have 2 fast interceptors used primarily for interdiction work. They have 2 larger craft patrol vessels for offshore work, if you will. And we have a number of jet skis. So yes, pretty much everything that you just mentioned, we're going to have. We're also looking to improve our fleet. We're looking at a larger vessel that has an endurance of about 72 hours. So when you deploy from Cayman, you'll be patrolling around the islands for about 72 hours at sea. It's something that's going to require a lot of commitment, a lot of dedication. It's not an 8-hour job or a 12-hour job. It's you're looking at some long hauls. But again, if you like the water and you like being out there, it's something that you'll definitely enjoy doing.
Mr. Leo Anglin, sir, good morning.
Good morning, Bubbles. How you doing?
I'm fine. I have a question for you. Is there any high ceiling when it comes to training? What can we expect? Will there be opportunities for higher learning, chances to fly away and get it immersed into other Coast Guards just for the feel of it?
Most definitely. So I think it's important that we kind of highlight the process leading up until actual recruitment. So there will be a phase portion towards leading up to our basic recruitment, our basic boot camp. Yeah. Phase 1 will obviously come in the form of preliminary medical, which consists of eye and hearing tests, and move to phase 2, which is a general information exam, math and English, And then phase 3, which is a physical fitness exam, which consists of a 1 mile run, which is to be done under 13 minutes, 25 push-ups under 1 minute, 25 sit-ups under 1 minute, a 200-yard swim under 12 minutes, and be able to tread water for 10 minutes. Once you've passed that and moved on from that element of the phase, you move into phase 4, which would be the interview process. And then finally, phase 5, the final medical exam. From that perspective, you'll be selected and then move into a recruit training, which is the 8-week basic training course. Now, during that 8-week basic training course, there will be a number of different requirements for an individual to pass. For example, basic seamanship drills and so on are going to be it. And inclusive of that will be knot tying, basic boat operating skills, navigation, survival at sea skills, and so on, just to name a few. On successfully passing that 8-week training program, that individual would then go into another segment of training, which will be considered, depending on the recognized skill set, so to speak. So the organization initially we're doing two initial occupational specialty areas, that being a coxswain and the other one being an MK rate. So the MK rate, the coxswain is essentially the operator of the vessel. Yes, that individual is in charge of operating and is in charge of the duty crew who is on for that day. The MK rate is essentially the engineer, the marine technician who's in charge of dealing with the maintenance aspects of the vessel. So based on skill set and individuals' preferences, they will be allowed to move into those various roles. Now, on meeting those particular requirements, that individual will be afforded a different level of training. So I'll go into speak about that different level of training in terms of the coxswain perspective. So as a coxswain and a boatswain mate, should I say, you'll be afforded advanced boat operator skills and boarding officer skills. So that's dealing with one segment, and then you have the law enforcement element of that. And then you have the MK rate, which is marine technician, would also have a host of different training. So you have intermediate, which is like sort of a class A style training, which speaks to the basics of vessel maintenance, of vessel engineering. And then you go into class B, class C, and so forth. Class C being one of those classes where you have achieved the necessary qualifications to operate on diesel engines, gas engines, doing welding, and so on. So it's a progression. The training is geared to ensure everyone has the ability to progress up to the next level. And the overall mindset behind that is making sure that when persons, if you so decide to leave the Coast Guard, you have the opportunity to move into a various different sector into your life and be qualified to do so. So,
and I think that's a big benefit as well.
Significantly, because you're affording an individual the opportunity to be diversified in their skill sets.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of jobs you can walk away from and become a better sorcerer in whatever field you left it in, where you can still make a living for yourself or still be called upon by other people.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, that is really one of the key drivers behind our training curriculum, if you will. We recognize that, not everybody's going to want to stay with us, although we would love them to, for 15, 20 years. So while they're with us, we need to give them the skills that they can do the job and, be a benefit to the unit as well as to the country. But having left the unit, you still need to have skills that you can transfer over into another field of work. Something that's not commonly known nowadays is the availability and the lucrativity of, working on mega yachts, private yachts. The shipping industry there. I mean, Cayman has a very strong maritime heritage. And believe it or not, there are still a lot of opportunities internationally for Caymanians to still undertake that work.
So basically saying it opens up your horizons, people.
Exactly.
Now,
Don't limit yourself.
True. And I remember when you both gentlemen were actually I guess, on task force and on land. What drew you guys to the water?
Yeah, because Leo couldn't swim.
I know, you know. Well, for me, even in my initial recruitment for joining the RSIPS, I was drawn to the maritime element from a very long time. I was very enthused about having the idea to be able to, one, execute a rescue and be able to save people's lives, but then also be a part of that arm that helped keep drugs and illegal firearms off our streets. Yeah. Knowing that it's often people sit back and they talk about certain things via social media and so on, but not actually putting things into action. And I believe that this is where we start. The element to protect our borders, or one of the main focuses of protecting our borders, starts within the maritime domain. And I was easily gravitated to it. I love being around vessels. I love being on the water. And I have, for the last 12 years, I've put on a uniform and come to work. And truthfully, I haven't felt like I work a day in my life, even though I've worked extended hours and sometimes no vacation. So it's the love overall.
Robert?
For me, it was, I did 26 years in the police service and I retired from that. And what drew me back to uniform was actually the chance to be a part of something from its inception to actually help build something from the ground up, something that's been needed for quite a number of years. When I left the police, I was a superintendent responsible for the specialist operations portfolio, which entailed the air support unit, the marine unit, K9, and a couple of other units in there. So again, my interest was there from before, but having the opportunity to actually come back and be a part and build something from the ground up, that was really the attractive feature, if you will. Which is
about right.
It's something that, again, like I said, that we're looking for new people to join us. This will be recruit class 1 of the Coast Guard. So persons that join us will actually have bragging rights that, they were actually part of the first recruit class, and they were actually part of the first detachment.
Pioneers.
So if you will, in other organizations, they're known as plank owners. So these will be plank owners.
All right.
Now, tell everyone now who's listening and who's going to watch this online, where do we go to apply or to try and get into boot camp? When is the deadline? All that good stuff.
Okay, well, our deadline is the 9th of August. And if you're interested, and we hope you are, you visit the government recruitment site, which is www.recruitment.gov.ky. Look for the Coast Guard recruit tab. Click on that, and the application form is on there, as well as the requirements of what we're looking for, the application form, the job description, everything. Once you've filled out the job description form, you submit it via email. The portfolio of the civil service is handling our recruitment. And a quick plug to them. They've been awesome. They've been very supportive. Their guidance, their direction. We wouldn't be able to accomplish what we have in terms of recruitment without their assistance. So, a big plug to the team. They're helping us out.
Yeah, big up the civil service.
Yeah, world-class service.
Now, I always want to know this: how far out to sea?
What's your jurisdiction?
Yeah, when is it not Cayman Islands? And you guys obviously gonna go.
When is Jamaica?
Technically, our territorial waters are 12 miles, but we're required under international law and international convention to provide search and rescue service and interdiction patrols. Search and rescue extends out as far as 200 nautical miles to our west, about 100 miles to our east, about 100 miles to our south, and about 20 nautical miles north of Cayman Brac. So, it's a quite vast area. In terms of when is Cayman waters, or when are we not in Cayman waters? Technically, when we're touching the border of another country. International waters is 12 miles off of any coastline. Other countries have declared what they call their EEZ or EEZ, which is basically their fisheries, underwater mining, different in national interests that those countries have. So yeah, remembering that the majority of the world is actually covered by water, it's quite vast.
So you're actually going into a harder field because that's a lot of miles to cover.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, again, we're looking at, we need vessels to be able to patrol what we claim, if you will. I mean, at some point in time, I'm sure that the government here will look at, expanding or declaring their EEZ, and that extends up to 200 nautical miles from your coastline.
Right.
And if they declare it, then there are certain obligations that we have to meet and patrol functions that we have to conduct.
Now, my question is for both of you. Both of you can jump in if you want, or if you have some input. I guess we can take from what you have stated so far that this job goes without saying. You have to actually be at least a bit invested in it first. Actually, want to subject yourself to some form of discipline. What would you say that you guys? Because I know with my training with 911, they told us from the first day, which I didn't believe them, but it did come true. You're going to look at the world way differently. You're going to think differently. Do you think that's the same for your line of work as for a person who makes it past all of the processes and actually becomes integrated? Do you think they'll walk away from this being a different person from the one that walked in the first day?
Oh, absolutely. One of the first things, and I mean, you haven't gone through some of the training. You come in thinking that you know something, and you leave knowing that what I thought I know, I really didn't know.
Yep.
Sadly, we in the line of work that we've chosen, we come in contact with death. We have to be there to support family members, victims, close friends, and that takes its personal toll on the officers themselves. And over time, I mean, people that wear a uniform need support and counseling just like everybody else.
Agreed.
So you don't want to become cold and jaded and take a dim view of the world. So having a good support network is also there, and I think that's what you're referring to when you say, does it have an impact on you, whether positive or negative? The positive is that at the end of the day, that what you did made a difference. You saved a life, or worst case scenario, you were able to actually recover a victim or a body, so that family can have that family and friends can have closure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Leo?
Yeah. So, yes, without a doubt. So I just wanted to make this very clear to persons who are interested as well. When you come into this role, there is a big great expectations relative to your form of discipline, and how you carry yourselves. Yeah. When you put on the uniform, the Cayman Islands Coast Guard, you're representing not just yourself, but you're representing an organization, and you're representing your country. So you're expected to carry yourself in a manner which is of a significant standard. In addition, as you go through this process of the training, one thing you'll find is that the things that you're going to be taught, you're going to sit to yourself, "Oh, this is a lot different from navigating into the North Sound." Yeah. This is a lot different from just going from the head of Barcus to Rum Point, and then back to the dock. Yeah, because you're going to traverse between here and Cayman Brac quite often. You're going to traverse to here to a casualty vessel, possibly 100 miles offshore, and you're out of sight of land, and sometimes you're out of contact with immediate contact with home base. So it's going to change and shape the way you think about everything that you execute or everything you've done before. This is by far a job that's not really for the faint of heart, in a sense, because, like Commander Scotland alluded to, you're going to be faced with some challenges, and to be quite honestly frank,
you're on the front line.
Situations where you experience those things, and you're going to be expected to kind of pick yourself up and keep moving. And that's why we intend to ensure that when we train individuals, we train them to a high level of standard, so they can be able to deal with those situations, yeah, and do with them effectively and efficiently, and in a manner which, you know, they can be proud of, the organization can be proud of, and the country as a whole can be proud of. So there's great to be expected on twofold. So anyone who's interested in doing this, trust me, it is life changing, but it's life changing for the better, for the most part. Because when you execute a rescue and you save someone's life, there's not a day go by that you don't come back and reflect on that and saying that if you hadn't been there, this situation could have been a lot worse. So
Right.
by far.
I agree.
Awesome. I wish I was 10 years younger. I would apply.
You just need to go through the training process.
No,
you'll be
they
all right.
said it was 18 to
Nah,
35.
but you look 35.
Well,
It don't
you know,
matter
having,
how I look.
John, you touched on a good point there. So what we were actually planning in the Coast Guard is actually having a reserve component. You know, so that is something that we'd be happy to take you up on your offer. We would probably bring the reserves online next year. And it's similar to the Special Constabulary. The reserves basically are not full-time members. They come out and they work when they can.
Oh.
But again, they're vital to the operation, especially the successful operations around search and rescue. Those are the aspects that we'll be heavily focusing on with the reserves. So yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll do that. I think I could be a great boat captain.
Here we go.
Well, I mean, you know, personal
the
knowledge.
blood.
Sir, he just
No. He
Oh,
knows
gosh.
my dad, and I know it's in our blood.
You just want to say, "Look at me, I'm the captain." Now. That's all you want to do.
I could do that now.
See? But once
Well, I
again,
mean,
guys, the deadline is the 9th of August, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Yes. So please, and remember, like Anglin said, this job does.
Commander Anglin and Commander Scotland.
My
sir.
apologies. It's just that we're friends, so I get lost in that sometimes. Commander Anglin
Yeah, I like
has
that.
stated it does demand a certain standard from you. So if you're going into this, please have that preconceived notion that this will be asked of you 24/7, 365. That's all I
But
want.
just also to add to that, and I just want to prep persons who are interested in coming aboard. The deadline is the 9th and so on, but you should start preparing yourself now. Yeah.
Yes.
The requirements for the physical exam or physical fitness tests are stated. Start conducting those early morning runs, those early morning swims. Prepare yourself mentally, so when you come to apply, you have that better chance of just getting there. You know, that repetition, that muscle memory will kick in. Better than for you to just get off your couch and just expect to perform valiantly at the time of the day. So prepare yourself for those physical requirements leading up to the exact time.
And I have a quick question too. With I mean, not for everybody, but for most people, they probably went when you mention all of the processes and the stages leading up and what you require from them as far as the physical. If I am not ready right now to run a mile in 12 minutes or 13 minutes, will this be an annual drive where I can get ready in a year and come back again? Or is it just for when we need them?
So ultimately, the overall strength of the Coast Guard, we're hoping will be at around 40 officers, 42 officers actually. This year, budgets and financing and everything else, we were only able to allocate 10 spots. But yes, as we grow, opportunities will be there.
Okay. All right. So
That's
even
pretty
if you're not ready right now, stay ready and stay being active so you can be ready to jump into the role when asked to apply. You'll be fine.
Absolutely,
I think this is an amazing thing, and I can see this. We'll be great at this.
Yeah, we're
I
fishermen
think
by history.
yeah, I
anyway.
think after like a good 7-8 years, you guys should be world renowned.
I hope so. That would be something to be proud of.
Well,
Certainly
we've
indeed.
actually already started to make our mark regionally. Cayman is actually the chair of the Overseas Territories Search and Rescue Working Group. within the overseas territories.
Wow.
So yeah, that's one of the roles that I fill, and we're active contributors within the overseas territories as well as with some of our regional partners. So as that old saying goes, we're little but we're Taloa.
True. So basically, if a hurricane happens at another overseas territory, we could be over there helping as well.
I think at the moment that's what the primary response of the regiment is going to be. They will be deploying overseas to help recovery efforts, if you will.
Right.
But if our services are required to assist from a maritime perspective, yeah, that's part of our responsibility. I mean, the overseas territories have a collective agreement to provide mutual aid and support to each other.
And last but not least, where are all the good conking spots?
Outside of the marine park zones.
I know you guys. You got know, right? You have.
Thank you, Commander.
All right, man. Again, we are looking for some good females and males to come out. The deadline is August 9th. Again, the website Bubbles and is. I thought you wrote it down.
No, I just knew that you have to go to the civil service. They'll be handling all the administrative duties, so that's where you'll have to pretty much venture once they're online. Give them the link again.
The recruitment site is www.recruitment.gov.ky. Also visit the Coast Guard's Instagram page. It's CI_Coast Guard.
Woo! Instagram too. All right.
Yeah, they have a really good video up that we will post again. Get some brackers on there. You know they love doing all this.
Yep. We plan to have a Cayman brack detachment as well.
It's facts. They live on the water.
This is true.
You laughing like you don't know. Anyway, guys, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having us.
All right, man.
Stay safe, guys.
Take care.